It's Christmas Day, and I'm on an island in the middle of the Haw River. So what am I doing out here? Why am I out here? And what do I plan to do while I'm out here? To answer those questions, let's first go back in time to yesterday morning, Christmas Eve. It's like 10 degrees outside. It's 11. I'm packing in plenty of warm clothes, of course. It's freezing out there. I didn't know it at the time. The next few days were some of the coldest days on record in this area. I also need a good sleeping system because it's gonna drop into the single digits overnight. I went with a hammock setup because it's my preferred sleep system over a tent and a bag and a pad, because I think it packs smaller and lighter to fit inside a kayak. That's the entire sleep system, all in one duffel. There's a long, unfortunate history of pollution on the Haw River, so I gotta make sure I bring enough water. I think that should be enough. For food, look, this is not some kind of survival challenge. It's Christmas. Tortillas, cheese, love cheese, eggs, the main entree, some salmon, and then some water. I'm gonna be out there eating like a king. Off camera, I packed a few more things, such as regular camping supplies and fire starters and things like that. Now that it's all bagged up, it really looks like I have a shot of making everything fit in this. So we've run into a problem. Even though I've got my sleep system packed into this thing, this is still too big to fit in the stern. The tarp and the hammock itself are gonna go in this dry bag, and that should free up space for the orange duffel to fit a little better in the stern. Because I'm packing heavier than I normally would, which is because it's Christmas, I've got an extra dry bag that just doesn't have anywhere to go. So I'm gonna cheat. We're literally just gonna strap to the boat and deal with it when I get to the island. This thing is heavy. I'm about to head towards the river now, just letting my car warm up because it's still like 10 degrees outside. Once I get to the river, I'll drop my boat, I'll gear up, I'll park my car somewhere, and then it's off to the island. These batteries just do not last in the cold, but I've got this extra bag mounted, and this is secure. All right, think you'll be safe right there. So the island I'm looking for is about 2 miles upriver. Whenever I find it, I'll pull myself up, get set up, and go from there. It is very windy today, very windy. When I stop paddling, because of the wind and the current, I literally start floating away from the direction I want to go. With the wind chill, it felt even colder. And the whole time I was out, it never came up above freezing. It's so cold out here. The little water splashes, like onto my dry suit and stuff, they're literally freezing and turning to ice. Same thing on my skirt, my paddle. The water is literally turning to ice as I'm paddling. There's a little cove back in here, and it looks like there's a tiny thin sheet of ice. To most people that live up in the north or anywhere where it normally gets cold, might not be that big of a deal, but we're in the flatlands of North Carolina. I think I'm gonna do a quick detour and paddle through here like a little kid and just crack all the ice. I'm starting to feel bad because I feel like I'm just leaving a trail of destruction. I've literally never done something like that before. Now we're back in the main current with the wind coming again, so. After paddling for another mile, I neared my destination. There's the island. I don't know if you can see the heron just wandering through there. This spot here would be the perfect place to just pull on up and set up camp. But let's go around and see if there's anywhere better. I should have brought a helmet mount for this. This island was actually 2 islands, split by a creek, with the smaller on the left and the bigger on the right. I think what we do actually is we'll go up in here and then we'll find a spot on this bigger island instead of the smaller island. They all still look good. Now that I'm on this island, I've got a few priorities. Number 1 is to find a place to set up camp. Number 2 is to set up camp, including my sleeping system. Then number 3 is gonna be trying to get a fire going so I can stay warm. Honestly, pretty much anywhere on this island is good. But right over there, tons of trees to hang hammocks on, tons of space to set up camp. Before we do anything though, let's go ahead and get all this gear off and change. Whoa. Now that we're in nice warm clothes, let's go set up camp. I chose this spot because it was easy to get to, it was a good clearing, and there were good trees to hang my hammock. Sweet, done setting up the shelter. So at this point now, camp is pretty much set up. The only thing missing is a fire. It's been wet and cold and raining and freezing. I am pretty confident though I can do a fire. Watch me eat my words. Most of the wood I could find though was frozen solid. So we are gonna cheat a little bit and use a fire starter. A few days of high winds and freezing rain had knocked all the dry wood down to the ground. And then with the weather getting cold, everything froze. As a result, there was almost no dry firewood for me to use on this entire island. So after a long time, I finally have something resembling a fire. This is my first time with fire in freezing conditions, and it is a lot more difficult than I imagined. Literally every piece of wood I find is just frozen. When I try to use it, it has to first thaw out and then dry before it will actually take. So I've been here just minding this fire for feels like hours now to just hopefully get it going enough that I can use it to thaw out the other pieces of wood and just continue this cycle. Probably the most minded fire I've ever had to do, but it looks like it's finally working, so at least I'll be warm tonight. I feel like this fire is just consistently like on the brink of death. I'm gonna keep working on this thing. I'm gonna eat some food, disconnect from the world for a little bit, and I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. It is Christmas morning. I slept with some water in the hammock to make sure it wouldn't freeze, and all of the water that I didn't put in the hammock is frozen. I really only have 2 goals for today. Goal number 1 is to get the fire going again, and goal number 2 is to eat well. But before we do any of that, let's whip the jet boil out and make some coffee. Get a hot drink in me and try to warm up a little bit. While I'm waiting for the water to start boiling, I think I'm gonna start working on collecting some more firewood for this fire. In this environment, I'm looking for things that are high up and dead. The deader, the better. Anything on the ground, all of this on the ground, that's guaranteed to be frozen. After yesterday's failure, I knew today I had to be much more patient and deliberate with my fire. Quick break, looks like my water is showing the first signs of boiling. It's hot. That's much better. We're also gonna use this jet boil to try to melt the ice in the water bottle, which looks stupid, but it's not stupid if it works. After barely eating the night before, I was so hungry and I became impatient. I'm gonna cook a little bit now since I have somewhat of a fire going. The thing is, my olive oil is literally a solid chunk. There it is. Oh man. The eggs are a little frozen. It's a lot of green onions, but it came out as a frozen chunk, so. The impatience turned out to be a mistake, and I almost lost the fire again. Now we've got breakfast. It's a lot of cheese. So I had gotten impatient because I was so hungry, and that's why I was having issues with the fire. But now I've got a real fire going. Up on the top, I'm putting the wet frozen logs, and those are thawing out, and as soon as they thaw out, they can be put underneath to use as actual fire material, and then I'll put more frozen logs on top, and it's just kind of a cycle. But as long as I continue this process, I'll have a fire for the rest of the day and through the night, and I'll be able to cook. This is my first time building a fire in frozen conditions. Maybe that's something you've already known, but to me, this is like the best discovery ever. It's now about 11 o'clock, and I've decided to do some filming. It's Christmas Day, and I'm on an island in the middle of the Haw River. So what am I doing out here? Why am I out here? And what do I plan to do while I'm out here? You already know how I ended up here, so let's talk about why. The holidays are usually pretty rough for me. I grew up in a family that never really celebrated them, and now that I'm grown up, I don't have much of a home or family to go to. Because of that, I've spent a lot of Thanksgivings and Christmases and New Year's by myself, whether that be in a dorm room or the barracks or in my car or on a river. And at this point, I almost prefer it that way. Because I don't have a permanent address and that the police get suspicious if I'm just hanging out in a parking lot during the holidays, I decided might as well find an island, paddle to it, and camp out for a couple days. This gives me a chance to disconnect from the world and learn some things about myself and how to survive by myself in this crazy world that we now live in. But that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and cook up some lunch and maybe explore this island. This island is not very big. There's the water on one side, and if we turn around, here's our camp. Right here, there's a fire, and right there, that's the other side of this island. There is the other end. I don't know if you can see it. Now right past those, and that's it. That's been all of my living space for the past 2 days, which ironically is way bigger than my car is. I also need to change this hat out. This has like 0 warming properties. It's like paper thin. One of the best parts about spending Christmas alone is I can decide when I want to cook and what I want to cook. Still a little frozen from the night. We'll throw in some green onions, some garlic. We'll just let this cook for a little bit. So I had to move because there's just too much smoke going right in my face. My eyes are all teary now, but I'm crying tears of joy because the salmon's almost done and it smells so good. That was a joke. I probably should have said this earlier, but I don't really know what I'm doing. My fire's kind of a mess. It's not the prettiest thing because I don't know how to build a fire when I have to have like a drying rack attached to it. Don't take anything you saw in this video as a tutorial. It's not. It's just one guy enjoying his Christmas on an island alone and figuring things out and about to have a delicious Christmas dinner. You know what they say, hunger is the best spice. I do wish I had like hot sauce or something, but this is still pretty good. I think I'm gonna spend the rest of the day just to myself. Tend the fire a little bit, cook and eat a little bit, drink some of my water, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna pack all of this up. Hopefully the return trip will be a little bit easier than the outgoing trip because I'll be going with the current. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. I'm going to end the video here. I want to save the rest of tonight and tomorrow just for myself, so that way I can live in that moment and be present and enjoy the last little bit of this by myself. This did not turn out to be the end of the video, but I did enjoy the sunset, as well as finished cooking up the last of my food before going to bed, warm, full, and content. So I thought I was done recording, but I'm running into some problems this morning. Pretty much everything's frozen, which was to expected. Like my shoe is so frozen that I'm literally unable to get my feet in it. I think what I have to do is try to thaw everything out as best I can from my body heat, so that way I can put it on and get out of here. This is not working. So I think I'm just gonna go one shoot today for the paddle back. We're all packed up now. Goodbye trees, goodbye campfire. At this point, I just gotta get myself and all my gear over to the water. I know the skirt is not gonna wanna go on the kayak. We're gonna swish it in the water, except the water is ice. Here's the shoe. We gotta be quick with the skirt. Otherwise it's gonna freeze again and I won't be able to get it on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh man, that's the hardest part of kayaking right there. Probably the noisiest sea launch I've ever done. A lot of work. It's a beautiful view, but it's cold. And it's not easy paddling. It's just so beautiful. Shoe is still frozen. I'm trying to do this without getting in the water at all because it's literally freezing temperature. this is all ice. Whew. I am gonna end the video here now. I've got about a quarter-mile walk to my car. Then I gotta load everything up and try to find somewhere warm. Thank you all for watching and joining me on this crazy winter Christmas adventure. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. So I've got just my toes in the shoe because everything else is frozen.